You're listening to the Limitless Broadcasting Network.
All it takes is faith and trust. Oh, and something I forgot. Dust. Just a little bit of pixie dust.
I solemnly swear that I am up to no good.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Turn to page 394.
Of course it's happening inside your head, Harry. Why should that mean that it's not real?
Welcome, Pixie Dusters. We're your favorite hosts. I'm Sammi.
And I'm Ashley. Welcome to the Pixie Dust Twins podcast featuring Dan.
What up? How's it going?
And of course, produced by Limitless Broadcasting.
Don't forget to check out all of our social medias, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram after the show.
See.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're on the last movie.
It's insane.
How are we through the summer?
I know.
We've been talking about this for a year, and now we're almost done.
It's sad. Yeah.
It is very sad.
Mm-hmm.
But life must go on. We have Haunted Mansion to talk about here in a month or two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we have things coming up, and we have other episodes we're going to be doing after this, like In Memoriam, talking about some amazing actors and actresses we have lost who were a part of the Harry Potter realm. Also talking about the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. We're going to do a whole episode on that. And also, I'm going to give you a little insight on Hogwarts Legacy game because I have played it way too much and know it very well.
Cool.
Okay.
I have put probably like a week's worth of hours into the game.
Nice.
Well,
A lot.
yeah.
Well, actually, no, it's not. I looked at my Sims hours that I put in since Sims 4 came out like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I'm
A
sure
lot
it's
of
way
hours.
worse. Yeah, I'm
Oh,
sure.
so many hours.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna get worse because they just released a horse ranch expansion.
Oh, well, of course, Ashley's going to do the horse ranch, so.
Very much so. I'm buying it
Yeah.
on my next paycheck.
Mhm.
They got me back with Star Wars. Now they're getting me with horses. It's like they know.
Yeah, it's very true.
It is. But let's talk Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. You thought last episode was depressing? Just wait. Just wait.
Yeah.
So I have about 10 differences. No, I have more in this one. I have 18 differences between the book and the movie, and most of them are about the final battle scene. So we're going to actually talk a lot about the battle in this portion of the podcast. So let's just get started. Very first one, we already kind of talked about it last time, but Teddy Lupin. He is mentioned multiple times in the book. Never hear about him except once, and we don't even know his name. So there's that. Tragically, Max, please fix it. But anyways, in the book, Hermione learns quickly how to be a better Bellatrix, perhaps because the Death Eater they meet on the way, on the way to the bank, Travers sticks around a little longer and accompanies them into the building. So in the movie, there's not another Death Eater with them when they're coming into the bank, but in the book there is. And then also the objects in Bellatrix's vault, they really don't, when I was rewatching it this morning, I'm like, they don't act like they're burning their skin, but the vault is supposed to burn their skin when they touch any of them. So they kind of left that out, which I thought was just a show of her crazy chaoticness. And then in the film, it's actually in the film they have it be Hermione's idea to ride the dragon, but in the book it's actually Harry who says, "Jump on the dragon, let's go." And he doesn't go out the ceiling. He actually goes out like some other door. But in the movie, the ceiling is more dramatic.
Cool.
Yeah.
And the visuals for the scene is more dramatic. Okay. some of these are kind of all over the place, and then all of a sudden they kind of get in order. So when they get to Hogwarts, in the book, Luna actually brings up the lost item of Ravenclaw and takes Harry to the common room to show him what it looks like on a statue of Rowana. Cho offered, but Jenny suggested Luna to do it. It's very potent in that scene, which I don't know why Cho's here, because I thought she was supposed to be a year older than them. So they're supposed to be a 7th year this year, and Cho's here. So in an earlier book, it says she's older, like a year older, but she's still in school. So I don't know. There's
I
some
don't know.
there, JK.
Yeah.
You gotta, I don't know what happened. But anyways, it's also there that Electo Caro, which is one of the twins, that's where he actually spots Harry. It's not, the first time they see Harry is not in the hall, where it's a very dramatic revealing to Snape. Which is an amazing scene, by the way. But Caro sees him and touches his dark mark, letting Voldemort and the rest of the Death Eaters know that he's here. But Luna is actually under Harry's invisibility cloak, stuns Electo, puts Harry back under the cloak, and then when his twin arrives and sees that there's no Harry, there's a false alarm, and he gets in trouble and all the things. So it's like this, Luna does this lovely little switch. So I feel like we kind of got what's the word I'm looking for? Robbed of some of Luna's scenes when it comes to this. Let's see here. Let's see. Oh, so there is a scene where McGonagall, like Electo wants to talk to Voldemort or something like that, and McGonagall says she's not going to go along with it, and she spits in Caro's face, and then that's when Harry pulls the cloak off and uses the Creatish curse on one of the Caro twins, secures the wands, binds them, and leaves them dangling from the ceiling. Yeah. And this is when Snape enters the fray after McGonagall asks McGonagall if she's helping Potter, and that's when they end up dueling. After Flitwick and Sprout make it, it's 3. So Flitwick and Sprout actually join her, and that's when Snape flees. So in the book, yes, you can argue the redemption of him like doing the curses to the Caros, but in reality, that's actually
I know. Yeah, that's just a movie thing.
That is just a movie thing. Let's see here. Yeah, so that's the book. Another thing in the book is McGonagall sends the younger students who do not want to fight and the untrustworthy Slytherins to the evacuation point, code Hogshead, and the tunnel is in the room of requirement. So they never talk about how that in the movie. They make it seem like the Hogshead go to Gryffindor's common room. It's actually not. It's the room of requirement is where they're all hiding out in the book. Let's see here. And in the movie they put him in like the whatchamacallit, the dungeon. So it's they changed it up, probably just because of time and money. Let's see here. In the book, Hermione actually kisses Ron in front of Harry. Afterwards, when Ron suggests that they tell the house elves in the kitchen to get out while they can. So Ron, like, he's been around Hermione enough that he pulls out something that she feels very strongly about, and she kisses him for it. Let's see here. What was it? There was a clatter as the basilisk fangs cascade out of Hermione's arms. That's the other thing. They take multiple fangs, not just one. And running it wrong, she flung them around his neck and kissed him full on the mouth. Ron threw away the fangs and the broomstick he was holding and responded with such enthusiasm that he lifted Hermione off her feet. Is this the moment? Harry asked weakly.
It's too funny.
Let's see here. This is huge. So in the book, in the Ministry of Magic employs Percy, which is the 3rd in the lineup of Weasleys. And he has been exiled from his family, but he actually ends up joining them in the battle. Hello, Minister. Oh, hello, Minister. Did I mention I'm resigning? You're joking, Perce, Fred says. You are actually, wait, so during the dueling, I'm sorry, he's dueling his boss, And he turns to him and says, "Did I mention I'm resigning?" "You're joking, Purse," Fred says. "You actually are joking, Purse. I don't think I've heard you joke since you were..." And then it happens, an explosion that blows away the side of the castle, killing Fred. And Harry, Ron, Hermione, and Percy all witness it. Percy tries to cover the body as the battle continues and then helps Harry move him. Such a heart-wrenching scene, but we actually get to see, number one, how Fred dies, which I'm glad they didn't show it to us because I would have probably lost it. But we do get to see the redemption of Percy with his brother, which is a beautiful, beautiful scene. I'm trying not to cry. So after the main trio actually witnessed Fred's death, Hagrid is heading into the forest with the spiders. Lavender Brown, that's when they see Lavender getting munched by Fenrir, and Grop trying to crush people on the upper floors. They feel the Dementors coming, and Ron and Hermione's Patronuses flicker and fade, but Harry can't even make one. Luckily, Luna, Ernie, and Seamus are the ones who produce the Patronus, not how do you pronounce Albus's brother?
Aberforth?
Aberforth, not Aberforth. So in the movie, Aberforth does it. In the book, Luna, Ernie, and Seamus do it.
Okay.
And Luna tells Harry to think of something happy. They're still all there fighting, and it's the triumphant edition of Harry's stag that makes the Dementors retreat. Like, Luna had to remind him, like, you need, like, think of happiness, think of something good, and that, which would be hard. I mean, he just watched one of his friends pass.
Right.
Practically one of his brothers, and they're in the midst of this, so that would be hard. Snape's death, we're talking about it. So it is not what happened in the movie. So in the book, it actually takes place in the Shrieking Shack, where Voldemort has Nagini encased in an enchanted sphere to keep her protected, floating. And when he tells her to kill, the sphere surrounds Snape's heads and shoulders, and she sinks her fangs into his neck. Also in the book, they come out, his memories are coming out of his mouth and ears, as well as his eyes. And he does not say, "You have your mother's eyes," in the book. He just says, "Look at me." And then passes. But when Harry watches the memories in the pensieve, obviously far lengthier in the book than in the movie, he sees that those eyes are what made Snape agree to help Dumbledore keep Harry safe after Lily had died. He does not do any of this for Harry, and that is my main argument. He only did this for revenge. He did not do this because he agreed with it. But we can debate more later. That's my take. In the book, after Harry uses the Resurrection Stone to see his parents, Lupin and Sirius, Rowling describes them walking beside him, not circled him, and they're walking with him until he gets to the point to see Voldemort. When he gets there, he drops the Resurrection Stone and they disappear to him. So they actually walk with him all the way up to the point right before he has to go and die, which I thought is a little bit more, he probably needed that support to get there, because I mean, you're literally walking to your death. How many of us can actually say we could walk to our death knowing it's about to happen? That'd be difficult.
Hopefully none of us.
Hopefully. The only one that I know of is Jesus. Jesus did it in Christian mythology, or not mythology, but in the Christian religion, what I believe in, Jesus is the one that comes to my mind.
Fair enough.
Sorry, I'm wrong podcast.
Oh, totally fine. It just wasn't expected, just the way you said it.
I know, it just kind of popped out of my mouth. I'm like, wait a second, I am not the right podcast for this.
My name is Jesus.
I'm like, okay, Harry Potter and Jesus.
You can take that out if you want to. I don't know why it popped out of my head, but it did. Anywho, also in the book, when Harry comes before we get to this, I believe also in the movie and in the book, it's not in here, but I'm pretty sure where he goes to meet Voldemort in the movie and in the book is the same spot he saw Voldemort for the first time as the unicorn was feasting on him. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I know the movie, yes. Book, I'm a little iffy, but correct me if I'm wrong, people. And then in the book, after he's killed and he comes back from King's Cross, comes to after Voldemort uses Avada Kedavra. He's actually naked.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys remember this?
Wait, who's naked?
Harry's
Harry.
naked.
Yeah. When he's
The
talking to
curse-
Dumbledore,
the curse-
he's nude.
Oh, yeah.
No,
The
this
curse,
no,
like,
not in real
destroyed-
life. No, not in real life.
No,
This
like
is
when
when
he's,
he's
like,
when he's
in the
dead. He's
afterlife,
naked in
whatever it
the
is.
at King's Cross. He's walking around naked at King's Cross. He doesn't have any clothes.
Such a weird choice. I do remember that. I probably remember
Yeah.
reading it in the book. I was
Yeah,
like,
when he's
why
talking
is
to
he
Dumbledore and all that, he's
Yeah.
just right in front of his like older
Naked.
older guy professor, just
he's just naked.
letting it all hang
Naked.
out.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Weird choice.
He's supposed to be starting anew, afresh.
I guess that's why. Yeah.
I don't know.
Just give him a new body, for God's sake. Don't give him a naked version of the one he's got. Why is
It's a bit
why-
awkward.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like I got screwed when it
No,
comes to the
ask
afterlife,
JK.
man. Huh?
I don't know. Ask JK.
Hey, JK, what's it with you and writing
What's up
about
with this?
naked teenagers?
First time that we know of.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Mhm.
so that happened. And then also in the book, the Sorting Hat is retrieved by Voldemort from inside the castle with a flick of his wand after Neville delivers his lesser speech. So this really annoys me that we didn't do it in the movie, because in my mind, it gives Neville a lot more heroics than and more respect in my mind than what they did in the movie. So what happened, if you don't remember, is that he says, "I'll join you when hell freezes over Dumbledore's army." Like, he screams it. Voldemort then places the Sorting Hat on Neville's head and sets it ablaze, while also putting a body bind curse on Neville, so he can't move. So he's literally torturing Neville because he doesn't think they need the Sorting Hat anymore, and Neville's being a dum-dum to Voldemort. Harry, who has been placed at Voldemort's feet, uses the chaos to put on his invisibility cloak. So he doesn't just fall out of Hagrid's arms and go. He has his invisibility cloak over him. And Neville breaks the body bind somehow, and the hat flaming falls off of him, and that's when he sees the sword of Gryffindor and pulls it and slices Nagini's head off in that same moment. So in my mind, that is a lot more intense and a lot more just showing of what Neville also had to go through,
Mhm.
instead of the whole like getting up, dazed, still having a battle going on, and then cuts off the head right before Harry and Ron. Because actually in the book, Harry tells Neville
Mhm.
that he needs to kill the snake. And I think it's again in here somewhere. But yeah. Let's see here. Also in the book, the battle involves or no, I'm sorry. Yeah, the ending involves a lot more like centaurs and giants and thestrals. Buckbeak comes back into play. The families of students who stayed to Hogwarts to fight are there.
Mhm.
The house elves are there. There's like all these different people. Harry is still under the invisibility cloak, fires curses at every Death Eater he sees, and shield charms at his friends. So no one knows he's alive yet. They all still think he's dead, which makes a lot of sense because they're fighting for their lives. They know he sacrificed himself, and they're trying to end this for Harry and for the rest of the wizarding world. And let's see here. Ron and Neville actually bring down Fenrir Greyback during this time. McGonagall, Slughorn, and Kingsley are battling Voldemort. Bellatrix faces Hermione, Ginny, and Luna. It's only after Molly kills Bellatrix, which in the movie is with the same "not my daughter, you be." She doesn't say that in the book, but in the movie she does. Harry shoots a shield charm at Molly to save her from Voldemort's rage. So Voldemort is ticked when Bellatrix gets killed, which you don't see in the movie.
Are you sure that's not in the book? I thought she said the same line in the
I don't
book.
know, which is in the movie with the same.
I'm pretty sure she says it
with
in
the
the book
same.
too.
Sorry.
Yeah, right?
I thought
Okay.
it said.
Just want to
I
make
thought
sure.
I was reading that it wasn't in the book. I really
Yeah.
need to reread these. So he reveals himself to Voldemort that he's alive, and to everyone else. So they've been battling and thinking he's dead, and all of a sudden he saves Molly from Voldemort, and Voldemort's like, "Wait, how are
Mhm.
you alive?" Like it just
Mhm.
it shocks him. Let's see here. Also in the book, Harry builds suspense by talking more to Voldemort, like at the end there, right before he kills him, which is probably why they changed it, because movies don't like just talking scenes when it comes to this sort of stuff.
Mhm.
Making sure Voldemort knows that his spells won't stick to those Harry was willing to die for, and that he's protected them just as his mother protected him, which I feel like is very full circle. He died to protect the ones he loved, like his mother did for him. He tells Voldemort that he'll win because he knows more not only about love, but also about magic. The crowd gets to hear as Harry details how Dumbledore, not Voldemort, planned the headmaster's death, and how Snape had betrayed the Dark Lord. And also in the book, the spells are cast and it's over a lot quicker than what the movie does. The Elder Wand knows Harry disarmed Draco and that Draco disarmed Dumbledore before Snape killed him. So its allegiance is to Harry and it goes to him. In the movie, they draw it out much, much slower. But in the book, there's only like a second of silence and then cheers because everyone is in the courtyard watching and thrilled. Now, in the movie, Voldemort's body disintegrates into tiny pieces that float into the air. But in the book, his body actually remains and is laid in a chamber off the Great Hall, away from all those who died fighting him. It's more final the way the movie did it, because this person, I like what this person said, less of a chance of seeing Harry Potter and the unauthorized resurrection.
That's pretty funny. I like that.
But I like how JK did it, because in my mind, when we did that in the movie, to have him just disintegrate into like, we had to have him literally disintegrate for him to die, in my mind makes him godlike. And for him to die and his body just lay there, it shows that he is just another human being.
I agree with that.
Had way too much power. Thought he just had way too much power.
I agree with that.
So I like the book better.
No, I do too.
And also, like, the way he actually died, the fact that in the movie it was like literally just two forces going at each other and Harry's just happened to be more powerful, where it was instead in the book it was like there was the spell just ricocheted because he did the Expelliarmus. Like, to me, that's much better moral of what evil actually does, because it's like nobody actually killed Voldemort; he killed himself.
Yep.
Yeah, I liked that much better too.
Pride, his own arrogance, his own stubbornness, whatever.
Yeah, the book did it better. Yeah.
Agreed. This makes me so mad. In the book, Harry and the Deathly Hallows, the movie made me mad. In the book, The Deathly Hallows, Harry's original Phoenix Feather wand gets broken in a duel. He uses the Elder Wand actually at the end to repair it. We never shown that, which I think we should have. And then he doesn't break it in two. He doesn't throw it off a chasm. No, he puts the wand back in Dumbledore's tomb. Because he knows that once, as long as he dies a natural death, that magic of the Elder Wand is broken. It's done. Finito. Over.
Yep.
As long as Harry dies.
As long as Harry dies a natural death. As long as he's not killed by somebody.
Interesting.
Yeah. The Elder Wand should have never been snapped. Now, if she snapped it in the book, that's a different story.
Right.
But
I like the idea of it, being put back and then it's just waiting to die. I like that.
I don't know. I kind of get the snapping of it, just because the idea that anyone could still access that level of power at any time. Like, even though it's buried, even though it's gone, even though the power will die eventually, like, there's still that small possibility that somebody could get it. So just eliminating that possibility entirely, like, I understand that choice. You know, and in Harry's mind, it's like no one should have this much power because he's seen what that much power can do.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I kind of get that.
But it would never actually fully work for him unless they went and killed Harry Potter.
True. Even so, I mean, there's still that possibility that it could, like, that's tiny little sliver of a window is still kind of open. In my mind,
True.
That's true. Yeah.
True. I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah. Valid point.
And then to round it off, in the book, when Harry's son Albus Severus, so many words, asks what will happen if he's put in Slytherin, Harry tells him the Sorting Hat takes your choice into account. Really? The boy asks. It did for me, Harry answers. It's the first time he admitted that to any of his children. Rowling makes a point of saying. It's very because it is all about choices. He probably would have been in Slytherin if he didn't tell the Sorting Hat no.
Yeah, it's a very real possibility.
Very interesting.
That's why when the Cursed Child came out and she had him in Slytherin, I didn't agree with it. I don't agree with it because at the end of the epilogue, Albus doesn't want to be in Slytherin. He wants to be in Gryffindor with his family. I think this little kid, 11-year-old kid, would have said, "Can I please be in Gryffindor?" Not Slytherin, anything but Slytherin.
Right.
Yeah, that does seem kind of a 180.
Just a tad.
A little bit.
A little bit.
I feel like that's one of the smaller problems with that entire story. So,
yeah.
Just saying.
I don't know anything about.
Please don't. Please don't ever. Don't do it.
Yeah,
We will never talk about that book on this show.
It's horrific. Just no. I don't even understand. No.
She lost her millionaire status. She's trying to get it back too quickly.
Apparently, the play is very, very popular in England. But I don't agree with the storyline.
I hate the storyline.
Like,
I really hate it.
They're literally trying to bring Voldemort back into the storyline. It's like he's dead.
What? Somehow Palpatine returned? That kind of,
Yeah,
basically, yes.
Basically, yes. It's very.
It's terrible.
It is. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Anyways, that is the biggest differences in Battle of Hogwarts in the book.
Okay.
I know it was a lot, but I thought it was very poignant.
Yeah.
To do it.
Yeah, there were a lot of differences between the book version and the movie version.
So what do you got on the movie?
Oh, lots of stuff. All right. So, last one. This one, again, PG-13 rating, sequences of intense action, violence, and frightening images, because that's like the entire movie. So yeah, that's appropriate. Fantasy adventure is our genre. Director, finally, again, David Yates. Producer, David Heyman, David Barron, and J.K. Rowling once again. Writer, Steve Close, with J.K. Rowling characters. Released July 15th, 2011. And this one, box office gross in the USA was $381 million. This is a little shorter than the last one. It's 2 hours, 11 minutes. And ratings, 96% on Rotten Tomatoes from the critics, 89% from the audience. And finally, we get an 8.1 out of 10 on IMDb, who broke the sevens with the very, 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 very last one. And I believe
it's a cynical one. They only rated it high because it was the last one. They hate.
I think that's they just did that just because it's the last one. But yeah, so this is the highest rated movie. Yeah.
I wonder though if IMDb used to have higher ratings, but when all the crap and controversy came up with JK, if the haters went and started putting lower ratings.
I really don't know. I feel like in general IMDb runs low.
IMDb eventually got more user-based reviews. So I mean,
yes, I think that's the problem. You got all these people on there who just like to tank things.
Another social media platform at this point.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it though.
So, some trivia. This is the shortest Harry Potter movie, as I said, at 2 hours and 10 minutes. This is the only Harry Potter movie to gross over $1 billion worldwide. And it came out at midnight and grossed $43.5 million in its midnight debut, which was the most of any film in history. And the previous record holder was Twilight Saga Eclipse at $30 million. Once again, Twilight has returned in our trivia. So I had to share.
I mean, I remember Twilight and Harry Potter, it being the big debate.
Back and forth, back and forth.
Coming out.
Yes. Yeah. But we all know which one is better. So.
Duh. Yeah. Hands down. At least she knows how to make it realistic.
There's just a lot to say about Twilight. You can hate watch Twilight. I would do that, but never really.
I do not hate watching Twilight.
I don't even think I could hate watch it. I'd fall asleep. I've tried watching it. I fell asleep.
That's fair too. to fall
Like,
asleep during. I
it's
could
not
see
even
that.
that it's bad. It just bores the crud out of me.
Mm-hmm.
First one is very boring.
Yeah. It's so slow. It's literally one emotional level throughout.
That's because
Like,
you have a one emotional level actress throughout.
And that's not even like, I don't want to knock on her because she's actually not bad. I've seen her; she's decent in other things. She's just pretty.
They all are terrible in this.
The stuff she was doing around that time, though, she was just one emotion.
Right? Yeah.
Like she's might have like changed since then, but during that time period, that was her.
I feel. Yeah, I do remember like a lot of that. Just that.
There's so many memes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just always looking just angry and disgruntled for no reason.
And the stuttering in the movie, it's pretty funny. It really makes me laugh. Yeah. Okay, so sorry, we got off topic. Okay. So upon release, this movie set the record of the highest grossing opening weekend ever with 169.2 million, which was previously held by The Dark Knight in 2008, which earned 158.4 million its opening weekend. Then this record was broken again 10 months later by The Avengers, which earned 207.4 in its first 3 days. So yeah, there's lots of
makes sense. The first Avengers was really good.
Yeah, and I can see why I would knock it off. Yeah, very popular. This final movie was nominated for 3 Academy Awards in 2012, and since the franchise had never won an Oscar, there was an expectation that this movie would actually do it, but it didn't. So so it's film history that Harry Potter, the entire franchise, never won an Oscar. Now, this does not apply to the new movies coming out because Fantastic Beasts won for like best costumes or something. So going off of the original Harry Potter story franchise based on the books, they never won an Oscar. So there you go. Interesting.
Well, they didn't put much, some of the stuff, they didn't put much like thought into like say costumes, for example. They let the kids kind of choose the costumes or do the costumes however they wanted, whatever they were wearing. So it was more focused on the story, not on like that sort of stuff to win an award.
But there's a lot of categories at the Oscars, and they didn't win anything for 0 categories.
Haters.
Well, the Oscars are the Oscars, so.
Haters.
It's more than, it's just a lot of behind the scenes stuff.
Would be more accurate.
Yes, snobs are a good description of the people who vote in the Oscars.
Harry Potter, that's not cinema. That's child's film.
Mm-hmm.
It's a summer block. We don't do summer blockbusters here. We do deep intellectual insight.
No blockbusters. Yeah, we don't do movies everybody sees. We pick the random ones.
We're the Academy Awards. We hate fun.
Has to be a very moody, dark movie that was only in like 100 theaters and nobody saw it. And it wins.
We congratulate ourselves on being the pioneers of pop culture.
Yes.
Oh dear Lord. Okay, moving on.
Okay, so this script originally was written just like the book to include Draco Malfoy's bully friends, Crabbe and Goyle. And in the book, Crabbe was to be killed in the climactic battle. However, Jamie Waylett's arrest and conviction on drug charges forced the filmmakers to change the plan. So Crabbe was written out of the script, of course, with Goyle being killed in his place. And another Slytherin character, Blaze, was brought in, and he takes Crabbe's place. So there you go. That's what happened. So when you get arrested on drug charges, you can't be in Harry Potter anymore, and you get replaced. That's where we're at.
I'll know that next time I go to look to be in a Harry Potter.
Yeah, just in case. Try not to get arrested.
For afterwards.
Yeah, save your drugs for later. Okay. Yeah. According to
for insurance purposes, that is a joke.
Good point. Like, let's be clear. Don't do drugs, kids. Okay.
Yes.
Don't do drugs. They are bad.
Yes.
No drugs.
Well, depending on. Anyway.
And
no. We can't keep.
Kids,
we just fixed this.
There's debates on certain things. I'm just saying.
Anti-drugs. Okay.
But we are talking to any child 18 years and under,
That's right.
and if it's illegal,
I forgot there's child.
drugs are bad.
When you're old enough, sign certain petitions that'll, maybe change a few things. I'm just saying. As of now, don't do them. But one day, or depending on what state you live in, or
There's a great line in Love Actually too, by an actor who's also been in the Harry Potter franchise, where he makes a comment where he says, "Oh, kids, don't do drugs, or don't buy drugs." He says, "Just become famous and you get them for free." So there's another
That
That's a
is
piece
true.
of advice
Was
for
that
you.
I'm not saying cocaine or heroin. I'm just saying, hey, I'm saying cannabis could have possibly some benefits. I'm just,
Uh-uh.
maybe.
There is a lot of debate on that, to be fair.
There's that's what I'm not talking about the hard stuff. I'm just saying,
Mhm.
okay?
you know, I'm anyway. I'm not saying it should or shouldn't be. I'm just saying, maybe it's not as black and white as we thought it was. Specifically for that, I'm not talking about the hard stuff.
But there are still laws that you need to follow because they are in
I agree.
place.
There's 100% law. I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm
Okay.
100% follow the law. If you feel strongly about it, maybe sign a petition.
Okay.
That's fair.
Sounds
you can
good.
always sign a petition.
What about my husband, Tom Felton?
Okay, so Tom Felton. All right. So according to Tom Felton, Voldemort awkwardly hugging Draco was not scripted, but it was an improvisation by Rafe. And so Felton's reactions of stopping dead in his tracks, not knowing what to do, is genuine. Yeah. And adds to that scene. Much
It
more
is
fun.
the most awkward hug in the history of cinema.
Yep. And this just makes it more fun because he's like, what is he doing? What is happening right now? In every shot in which Voldemort and Bellatrix appear together, she always moves so she stands on his right, which is traditionally the position of the most loyal and trusted follower. That
I mean,
makes
let's
sense.
be real, she is the right hand.
Oh, it's Bellatrix. It certainly is Bellatrix. Yes. All right. So when Harry, Ron, and Hermione enter Gringotts near the beginning, Hermione has taken the Polyjuice potion to disguise herself as Bellatrix. Before the scene was shot, Emma Watson acted out the scene for Helena Bonham Carter so she would know how to act as if she were Hermione in this situation. So essentially, in this scene, Carter is acting like Watson, who is acting like Hermione, acting like Bellatrix.
Mm-hmm.
And I love this like mind like
So
trying to wrap your head around it.
So brilliant.
Yeah, it's great fun. Yes.
I gotta admit, like every time I watch that scene, my mind has a little bit of like a what the heck moment when you just see, and like you remember it's Hermione, but like you just see Bellatrix on the beach, just kind of walking up casually,
super awkwardly like
Just like,
scrolling
what,
up.
What just happened? Where am I watching the same movie? What happened? Oh, right, okay, Polyjuice, got it.
Yeah, just
I
kidding.
had a
It's not
moment.
really her.
I had a moment.
Why does she look like a scared little schoolgirl?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is just weird.
It's just so well done too. I just, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like to be kept waiting.
I love that Emma did it first so that she could copy it too. Because now you can really see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So Emma and Rupert have stated in several interviews that filming their much-awaited on-screen kiss was an extremely awkward experience due to both of them stating they always felt like brother and sister. It only took 6 takes to complete, whereas the kiss between Harry and Ginny took around 10, Ron and Lavender approximately 15, and Harry and Cho took over 30 takes by comparison.
Wow.
There's some fun movie facts for you.
Well, okay, from what I understand, I watched an interview with Emma about this. They actually had to ask Harry to leave Dan to leave the set because he kept laughing.
I bet he
I
did. He
remember
probably thought it
that.
was hilarious. Oh, that's too funny.
It is hilarious.
Mm-hmm. That's great. I love that little fact.
I'd laugh right along with him.
Mm-hmm. Right? Oh boy. I would have kicked him out too. Been like, get out of here.
Like,
as
Dan,
minimal
go.
takes as possible. Okay. Come on. Okay. So speaking of Daniel, he reportedly broke 80 wands throughout the franchise because he liked to use them as drumsticks. Yeah. Good job, Daniel. And to continue on with this, Harry's lightning bolt scar was applied by makeup teams approximately 5,800 times by the end of the film franchise. Daniel had the scar applied around 2,000 times, and then the rest were applied to stunt doubles and stand-ins. Oh, it's a lot of scars being applied. And during this movie, the filmmakers wanted Voldemort's appearance to change subtly with the destruction of his Horcruxes. So as each one is destroyed, he gets increasingly hollow-eyed and develops small lesions on his skin. So he did like little subtle changes to his makeup, just to make a point of it. And when Harry goes into the room of requirement, in the bottom left-hand corner, there is the knight that Ron rides from Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Also present are the Cornish pixies that were set loose by Lockhart in the Chamber of Secrets. And in fact, the entire set is made out of props from all of the movies, around 72 containers of props.
Aw.
So there's lots to be seen in there, really and truly.
Yeah,
Lots of
there
things you can
is.
see from previous movies. And director David Yates said that the epilogue was reshot because the heavy makeup originally applied on the actors and actresses at adult age didn't reflect well in the dailies. I have a question about this. So you reshot it, Mr. Yates. Why is it still so bad? The makeup is horrific. These kids are, they're supposed to be like our age, right?
Yeah, they look like they're supposed to be in their 50s with that makeup.
What did you do to Ron? My goodness. Like,
Yeah,
he
Ron
got the
looks
worst
bad.
of it.
Yup.
Oh boy. I
Unbelievable.
just, you reshot it and this is still where we landed.
Mm-hmm.
It bothers me a
It's-
lot. I'm like, we do not look like that, okay?
No, we don't.
This is not a thing.
It's done from like the point of view of what a child would imagine an adult to look like. You know what I mean? Like themselves to look like as older people.
But the clothes and all of it, oh,
Bad though.
so bad.
It's like from the point of view. It's like if we were, I don't know. It's like when you're in the '90s and you imagine like the characters would imagine themselves in the future, but like they're dressed as like their grandparents.
Hold on.
Mhm.
What? Okay, hold on. What year did the Battle of Hog?
It was like 98, I want to say.
I
might
can't
be making
remember.
that up. I might be
I
making
think
it
it was, yes, it was 98 because they lost our letters because we needed them for 99. So 1998, it was 19 years later,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
2017.
Mm-hmm.
So why couldn't they have used the style of 2011 for the adults?
I have no answer on this one. I really like.
I just.
I guess they just desperately needed a contrast from this is how kids dress. This is how old people dress.
Why?
I don't know, but it's
Why did
really
you do the
bad.
Harry Potter
Apparently-
characters like that?
Apparently, we all dress like our grandparents who had bad corporate business jobs.
That's literally the best description of what they were wearing.
That's what it looks like. No, literally, Harry
Oh.
looks like Robin Williams did at the beginning of Hook. He looks like
Yes.
an overweight,
He
alcoholic
does.
lawyer
Yes.
who hates his own family.
He does.
It's true. Yes.
Such a good movie.
Great movie.
I just watched it recently. Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, you just look at the cast now; they look 10 times better in real life.
Yes. They do not look like that.
Right.
Because now they're literally the age that they were supposed to be in that epilogue.
And guess what? They look great in
It's all-
comparison.
Technically, no, because it's only been what 12 years since the last one came out, so we still got another 5 more years to go before because it was 19
Okay, how old were they supposed to? Okay, 17.
It was 19 years between the battle and
17
then-
plus 19, 36.
Uh-huh.
They're like 2 years off.
Close enough. Yeah, you're right. Close enough.
Yeah, they're basically that age. They're not going to look that way in another couple of years.
No.
Yeah.
No.
They all look amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Sickening.
Okay. Well, yeah. They have a lot more money than us, so there you go.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on. Alan Rickman admitted to feeling awkward during the scene in which Professor Snape and McGonagall duel. Thank God for computer graphics, because holding a wand and not throwing the most threatening thing you can do is not throwing the most threatening thing you can do. And you're pointing at Dame Maggie Smith, who you grew up worshiping from the cheap seats in the National Theater, and she's pointing a wand at you. She can arch an eyebrow like nobody. So thank God for the sheets of flame. I was just like, oh, Alan. He's just like, I don't want to battle you. No, I don't want to be part of this.
Mm-hmm.
No, I just thought that was a nice quote from him.
Kind of carries on his face too, because he looks terrified. He looks genuinely afraid.
He's like, I do not want to be here. Do you know who this is?
Mm-hmm.
No, thank you. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Probably was her student at one point too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
And the look on his face in the movie is pretty interesting. Like he really does hesitate. Like he has Snape hesitate.
Mm-hmm.
When she comes out, she's ready to go, and he kind of bends his arm and
Yes.
then hesitates and then straightens it, and
Mhm.
just the look on his face, because almost when I was watching it again, it almost looked like they kind of had looks between each other, like they knew that this, like, it was almost a show. Like like they could have been staging the fight as a show to get the Carros out, and so he could go to Voldemort, until at the end when she yells "coward" at him.
Yes,
Unless it's
then you
planned.
know.
But it could have been planned. But I thought it was interesting because just how their faces, how the facial expressions they gave each other. I'm like, did you just stage this? Like, did you know this was about to happen? Like, that's what was going through my head this morning.
Yeah. All right, and I had mentioned this a very long time ago, but not long after Alan Rickman started to play Severus Snape, J.K. Rowling told him some character secrets about Snape that would not otherwise be revealed until the very last book. Most significantly, Rickman was one of the very few people other than Rowling to know, years ahead of the last book's publication, that Snape had been in love with Lily Evans when they were students at Hogwarts, and both Snape's protection of and antagonism toward Harry came from that. Rowling said that she shared this information with Rickman because he needed to understand, I think, and does completely understand, and did completely understand where this bitterness toward this boy, who's living proof of Lily's preference for another man who ridiculed and tormented him, came from. According to Rickman, the directors prior to the publication of the last book were not privy to the information of Snape's true character either, and he had to ask them to defer to him on the portrayal of Snape, whether or not they understood why. Rowling joked in an interview that Rickman would often gloat that he knew more than the other actors and actresses. And I think that's pretty funny too.
That's funny.
That made me laugh. But I just love that how, I don't think you would ever argue with Alan Rickman if he's just like, so listen, I know more than you. So you're going to need to just listen to me when I tell you these.
Yeah, he looks like somebody who just naturally knows more than everyone anyway.
Right, he does. And in this case, he certainly did.
It's like, good to meet you, Mr. Rickman. I'm a big fan. I know more than you.
Yes, that is literally him. Yeah. And here's another fun one. So before the final book was published, Daniel Radcliffe asked J.K. Rowling whether his character Harry would die at the end. And after a silence, Rowling gave him the very cryptic answer, "You get a death scene." Super. Okay. So yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, because they couldn't figure out what's happening to their characters until the book came out. Like they literally had to wait.
The only one who got some sort of info was Alan, and everybody else was just like, well, guess you're gonna have to wait, huh? Yeah.
I watched an interview a long time ago with whichever Phelps played Fred. Him and his brother were on a train reading Deathly Hallows, and he got to his death. He's like, and he yelled out loud, "I died!" Like, he's like so annoyed.
Dang it!
So
dang it, man! At least it was the last one. You know, he made it pretty far. So yeah, at least it wasn't the last one.
Oh yeah. It just makes me laugh.
Oh boy. Okay, so Snape's redemption. We already talked about this a little bit, but if you watch in the duel between Snape and McGonagall, you can see Snape deflect a spell that McGonagall cast, and it purposely goes back to get to the Carrows behind him. You also can see, like, when he does his little bat, whatever, Death Eater thing, he goes and grabs their wands too. Like, he stops by each of them and flies away. So that's one key thing he does. And then the entire Prince's Tale. The entire thing. That was the best part. I remember still reading it and feeling so redeemed. I still have that teenage feeling back when I read it. And I was so happy. And I was like, wait till Ashley reads this. This is great. I can't wait. Just wanted to share.
It doesn't help it.
Wait,
what? It does. So the Prince's Tale. The Prince's Tale is the whole chapter in the book that goes over what Snape did when we see his memories. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So when we see like everything he went through from the meeting all the junk with Lily and growing up, and then what his true motives were when he comes to Dumbledore and begs him for help, and Dumbledore is pretty rude to him because he's like, you suck as a person, I can't believe you. We get to see all of that, and then see all the ways throughout the years that he protected and helped Harry. What do you want to say? I just need you to just say, what do you want to say?
He didn't do it for Harry. He didn't do it for anyone but himself and his revenge that he wanted for Lily. He literally only does this because of Lily.
So? I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just trying to ask, like, does it matter though?
For me to say he is a hero in this book, I can't. Because he doesn't do it out of the fact that it is right. He did it out of the fact that the only person he ever loved was killed. That's
he did it for
why.
love. He did it with love in his heart. Dan, dang it, you're supposed to be on my side.
No, because yes, he might have loved Lily, but he didn't show love to anybody. No one else. He didn't show love to Harry. He didn't show any sort of kindness to anybody else. Other than the fact that he wanted revenge against Voldemort for killing the one woman he loved. And if James was still around, he probably would have killed James too. Snape is built on revenge. He is not built on actual love. Now, Snape, we can talk about how movie Snape is very different because they portray him differently. They do different things. But if we are getting to the core of book Snape, he is built on revenge, not love.
Yeah.
But isn't that revenge born out of love, though?
That's what I was trying to say.
But is it actually love?
Take vengeance. Now that is debatable. I will say that.
Is it actually love?
That is the million-dollar question, because he would not have had as much. He has hate in his heart because Snape had a very hard upbringing and he had the issues that he already had with the Potter and all that. I will agree with that. But yeah, I think the true revenge, because let's be honest, Snape was kind of a coward. He was beat up as a kid. He went with the Death Eaters, all of that, right? Because
ultimately he was weak. He was
weak. Yes. And he got this backbone because of what happened to Lily, because of how much love and how much he cared for Lily. And yes, he treated Harry like crap because Harry looked like James, and he should not have done that because Harry was a child. And
exactly,
I'm never going to argue against that because it's terrible. You should not be like that to children. But, you know, he didn't do anything. He always took care of Harry because he always had that love for Lily inside of his heart. So no matter what, he would never want anything to happen to Harry, even though he disliked his attitude, and which rightfully so sometimes with Harry, but he disliked his attitude, his looks, you know, all of that. But he, deep down in his heart, I think even book Snape still had a certain soft spot for Harry because of Lily. And that's why he fought so hard and was so with Dumbledore and all of it. Because, like, you know, like we just said, Snape is pretty weak. So what he did was, that took a lot of guts to literally go in the dungeons with the Dark Lord and lie to him. And know that he was lying to him and betraying him. And yeah, I mean, not many people would go against Voldemort. We saw how most of them were. Lucius, Pettigrew, they're all super afraid of him. Bellatrix was not, because she's a Looney Tune, you know, but
so in like when I think of just literature and movies in general, normally when we see someone go to revenge out of what they say is love for another or revenge of a death, they usually end up being a villain in their own way anyways, because you're not actually using forgiveness. Like, he didn't forgive anybody in this process. So so for me, when I look at, okay, if we're actually gonna say that Snape was a true hero and great person in this book, then there are other things that should have happened with him to make him a better person, in my mind.
I would never dream of calling him a hero or even a good person.
I agree.
But a lot of people in the Harry Potter world does.
And that is a problem. I would definitely agree with that. But
yeah,
for me, like, there's a lot of things that I despise about him. He is a weak man with a lifetime of unhealed trauma and undealt with issues. And it's a perfect example of what that looks like when it festers. And the fact that he did something good is really just Dumbledore saw how he could use that for something good. So in that sense, I would say I can't 100% hate him, because, like, he really didn't have anyone to lean on, like, in a healthy way.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah,
like, Lily certainly was the closest thing he had to them. And that's the other problem, is that that's the closest thing he had to not really anything romantic, but as a friend, because he had no friends. The poor man had no friends, and so the only place he could have any positive feelings is when this cute girl next door person who just kind of walks into his life, and that manifests as romantic feelings. Might not have even been that, or it might have just been like manifested as that.
That's true.
But
circumstances.
like in a lot of ways, Lily was sort of his lifeline to his humanity. Not saying that's right. I mean, you should never make another person responsible for that. But in that sense, I understand why he is the way he is, and I can't totally hate him.
Well, and the other thing, and JK, in my mind, JK is trying to make him such a good, like, because Harry at the end, was it in the book that he says this? But either way, he names his child after him.
I don't understand that.
That is a bit much.
That is the
I hate
big
that.
thing. That's the other thing. Like, and I know
that.
you don't. I know, Sammy. I know you and I have always agreed that him naming him what he named him is horrible.
Why he didn't name
for Harry
Sirius
to
is right there.
do,
Lupin, there's so many other choices. Yeah,
I know.
ahead.
For
Sirius
Harry
father,
to do that much of a 180 to name his son after him,
There's
even
no way.
though that's not realistic
There's
whatsoever.
no way.
Not at all.
He tried to bring Severus into this redemption at the end because of the always and loving Lily and all these. It's like, no, that's not healthy. None of this of what he's doing is healthy, right? And we should not be giving that message to our people. And Harry shouldn't be idolizing this man. This man, yes, kept him alive because Dumbledore told him to, because he was trying to revenge his mother's death. But you shouldn't name your son after him. You, in the sense of like caring for you and loving you and treating you like one of their own. Nothing. Arthur would have been better.
There's a lot of choices he could have went with if we were going to be naming kids after people.
Lupin, Sirius, anybody, after his own father, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Well, he did. One of the kids
yeah,
is.
his first kid is named James.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then I have
James and his
James,
daughter's Lily.
Yeah, the other one was Lily. James, Albus. James.
I think it's James Sirius, actually.
I think it is James Sirius. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
But still,
Lupin. Come on.
I'm saying Lupin.
Come on.
Lots of people. Okay, but I have a question that this all kind of leads into, because I've seen this debated as well. Since we're talking about Snape, we might as well bring it all up.
We're going into it.
We're going into it. Okay, so let's talk about Dumbledore to a certain extent, right? Because
I wanted to go there next.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're on the same page. All right, so yeah, obviously we have lots of love for Dumbledore. I get it, but there is a certain question about all of this. Dumbledore doesn't share everything with Harry. He has a past. We know he used to hate Muggles. It was a whole thing that we find out, and they can't get into it. And I understand the movies, it's too much stuff. But in the book, there's so much you learn about Dumbledore and how he grew up and how he used to treat people and Grindelwald and how that ties in. But we do have, when Snape is discussing, and I have the line in there when we get to quotes, but about raising Harry for slaughter and all of that. There's that great debate about kind of, Dan, you said it and it triggered in my mind about Dumbledore using Snape now for a good end, because the whole point is to bring down Voldemort, who is obviously needs to be taken out. But Dumbledore does this thing where he does kind of use people to his advantage, and we do see him doing that over and over, and Harry is one of them. If you really look at it. Now, I'm not saying he didn't love Harry, because I don't think that's an issue. But but there is that certain extent, like he brought Slughorn in for a purpose. He brings, he brings people into the fray for a purpose. And so there's that whole question too about how good was Dumbledore too, when you break it down about what was happening in the war, when he was doing things purposely for the war, right?
Yeah.
There's just so much stuff.
So I had thoughts about that. So he essentially is the general of the light side of this battle, right?
Okay.
Dumbledore is.
Yeah.
Most of the time until he's dead. But anyways, but here's the thing that because a lot of people I feel like in this book did a shift where they now hate Dumbledore and love Snape, which
no,
which is so annoying. But what I think
nuance.
Yeah,
know.
you can have opinions that don't have to be just black and white.
Right.
Yeah, I know. But with Dumbledore, and as I was watching that scene this morning of you're raising him for slaughter sort of deal, I'm like, and I thought about it, and I'm like, is he really? Because in my mind, as I'm looking at all of it, it's not like Dumbledore chose Harry to be the one who has to kill Voldemort. Dumbledore did not put any of this into motion. Literally, Voldemort did. Tom went after Harry's family, and made him part Horcrux. In my mind, I'm looking at this and like, okay, Dumbledore has changed. Yes, we know he has a lot of past. Yes, we know about the power. Yes, we know all these things. But number one, he didn't keep the invisibility cloak, so he's changed because he gave it to Harry. Two, you never see him use his wand except like once, maybe twice, 3 times, maybe out of the whole series. He's not one to use his powers anymore. And then it really is like, I feel like he sees this situation and he has no choice. I feel like Dumbledore literally had no choice, because either way, no matter what's going to happen with Harry, he was going to have to die. But it's not like Dumbledore made that choice. It's not like Dumbledore made the choice to raise him for slaughter. It literally is just a part of what it is and who he is. I don't know if Snape actually understood that.
I don't know if he meant, and that's the thing, like trying to interpret the thing. I don't know if he meant more like, because no one tells Harry what's going on, right? Dumbledore dies and Harry feels like he's in the dark. Like, what am I supposed to do? I don't even know where to go. You know, granted, they stumble their way through it and figure it out. But I think there was a certain point of maybe what Snape was trying, I don't know. Who really knows what Snape was trying to say? But there is a certain argument maybe that Harry should have been brought in more on, this is the reality of what we're looking at, especially as he got older. Should you tell an 11-year-old Harry that? No. But, you know, as he started getting older, maybe there should have been some way to communicate to Harry, like, this is where we're going. Harry is understanding the gravity of what's going on. He's clearly willing to die for the cause. Maybe we should explain more about what truly is happening and what's going to be expected of you going forward. Instead, he's just felt like he was in the dark when Dumbledore died, and he has these cryptic messages from Dumbledore he has to like interpret, because, you know, Dumbledore always has to be clever in his messages and hidden meanings and stuff, you know?
Well, I wonder if so Harry is willing to die, and we get that. But if he knew sooner that he needed to die, he might have died before he could have figured out the Horcrux stuff.
That's fair. He might have, yeah.
So
I know.
And maybe Dumbledore, and I think part of what I think Dumbledore just wanted him to try to have as much of a normal childhood as long as he possibly could.
That's what I was
And also, I don't know if Dumbledore probably did not plan to get cursed and gonna have to die.
Oh no, I don't think Dumbledore was.
Probably thought he was gonna be there all the way up to the point where he needed to explain to Harry, look, I know I didn't tell you this, but this is what is going on.
I think my question is more like, when he made his plan with Severus, like, I need you to, you know, off me, like, this needs to happen, that it would have been nice to maybe, like, you know, do something for Harry, like, even if it was something he couldn't get right away, like, hide a note in the snitch, like, this is what I need you to do, you know, something like that. Yeah.
Maybe well, okay, here's the other thing that I thought of. The other thing that maybe Dumbledore was like, he'll be fine. It's because he had Hermione.
That's true. Hermione is
the clever one. He knows Hermione can figure this out.
Yeah.
Because again, let's be real. They'd be all under Voldemort's reign if Hermione was not there.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, Ron this time.
Eventually, yeah.
He thought of the basilisk thing.
Yeah. He gets there. Just, you know, just like Dan said, slowly but surely.
Yeah, slowly but surely. Late bloomer.
What is your saying for him? He's a little confused, but got the
confused,
spirit.
But he got the spirit.
Yeah, he's got the spirit. Yeah.
Okay, I think we finally got the debate out of the way. Let's go into final thoughts.
I liked that. I love the debate. It was a great time. Thank you.
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. We actually, I think we kind of actually
expecting war.
No. I know. I think we actually agree with each other in some aspects.
Yeah, no, we can get there, yeah. But we will always agree that movie Snape is a lot better than book Snape.
Oh, for sure.
Thank you, Alan Rickman.
Yeah.
May you rest in peace.
Well, and they just wrote him differently too.
Yeah, they did.
And Alan played him, I think, a certain way, and
Yeah.
it all just added up into a slightly different character.
Yep. All right, favorite characters, Dan.
Alrighty. Favorite characters. It pretty much. Wait, hang on. Am I on the right one this time?
Oh, geez.
I don't know, part 2.
Okay.
We did this in the last.
I did. Well, I'm watching the screen, so I'm not going through my notes. I'm just paying attention to all of you. Okay, so more or less the same. Actually, not really. Harry is, one of them. McGonagall, because she's back and she has some fantastic moments. Molly, for the aforementioned reason, where her famous line, and then and Luna again, which I haven't seen later. But the more I watch of her, the more, as much as I've said this before, but as much as I like Harry and Ginny, I'm really starting to wish that she and Harry wound up together.
Yeah.
I'm watching them. I think they would have been a very odd couple, but I think they would have been
They would have been adorable.
Adorable and really good for each other. Like,
yeah.
She's like Hermione in a lot of ways because she sees things that Harry tends to miss.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
So McGonagall, of course. I mean, how can you not love McGonagall?
Always love McGonagall.
It's Dame Maggie Smith. Her lines, I think I have most of her lines in my favorite quotes.
Yeah.
She's just my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Harry, I love Harry in this one. Just the fact that a 17-year-old boy has matured to the point where he can literally walk to his death.
Yep.
And yeah, just wow, lots. And then Neville, especially Book Neville. Book Neville is so great. I love Book Neville.
Agree.
He would have been a great chosen one as well. Like, I really think he could have done it too. And honestly, kind of, I feel like even though he wasn't the chosen one, he's still very much like he was still a big part of it. He killed Nagini.
He did.
He
the last one. He got it.
Face to face with Voldemort and no fear. Just I'm not going to you. Like, this is not happening. Dumbledore's army, let's go. Just Neville is such a 180 from little Neville who's losing his toad to 17-year-old Neville who's like facing down death, probably thinking of his parents in the process.
Oh, for sure.
Which I know I love Molly being the one to kill Bellatrix, but I'm not gonna lie, I really wish it was Neville.
It would have been a lot more points.
Really wish it was Neville.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really would have.
But yeah. Sammi.
So I put Snape down, movie Snape. It's so just, again, Alan Rickman, just, oh my goodness. Yeah. Neville, you just went over that, Harry. And then I did put Dumbledore down because I do really like his appearance in this movie and the book. Both of them are great, but I thank you, Michael. You did not mess it up. I really liked the Dumbledore in this movie, just the way he is talking to Harry when he's trying to figure out what to do. It was such a great moment, and I'm glad that we were able to see him again in the final book. Yeah. So I had to throw that in there.
Dan, your favorite scenes?
Yes.
Favorite scenes. Mentioned it already, but again, Hermione is Bellatrix.
Of course.
The hijinks ensue. Invading Gringotts, the whole, every moment of that scene. Confronting Snape, one of those scenes that just gives you absolute chills. And I haven't seen this one mentioned yet, but I probably saw this in a trailer, but like after Snape's retreat and McGonagall just like relights the whole main hall and like the theme plays. Such a chills kind of scene, just so iconic. And then right after that, the fortifying of Hogwarts. Like I just watched that scene just in general. Like I'll just look out clips from that scene just to feel that feeling again. And then Luna figuring out who Harry needs to talk to, like, Harry Potter, you listen to me right now. It's like, whoa, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. She yells for
Got
the
it.
first time.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Good moment. I love the scene of actually meeting Helena Ravenclaw and, just delving more into the history of that. And then the Resurrection Stone scene, which I thought was perfectly executed because, like, watching that scene is the exact same feeling I got reading the book. I mean, they
Mhm.
got that
Mhm.
absolutely
Yeah.
perfectly.
Mhm.
And we already mentioned it, but it was the same with when Harry sees his parents in the as the tombstone as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, just absolutely recaptured the somberness and the heaviness, and the
Mhm.
understanding of what he has to do, and we're
Mhm.
grieving with him. We're
Mhm.
Yeah.
grieving. He's grieving for his own life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, so yeah, and there's many more, and I'm sure you've mentioned you have them mentioned. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
those are some of my
Mhm.
personal most powerful scenes.
Yeah. We went through it point by point, but my favorite and most satisfying is the final battle at the book with the book in the
Mhm.
book. Um, such a great, just a great sequence of scenes put together from the start of the battle with Seamus and Neville blowing up a bridge to the just dealing with and dealing with the death and the loss. It
Mhm.
hurts, but it's a part of life, so we have to navigate that together. And
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
um the battle before he actually kills Voldemort, and that satisfaction of it finally just being over.
Mhm.
um just so good, just all
Mhm.
of it. And then of course everything that Dan said, like, just amazing. That scene, that scene of McGonagall facing off with Snape in the Great Hall. I know it's added, it's not in the book, but such a good scene, especially when Harry walks out. He's like, "This looks like your defense is not that great," and then like
Mhm.
everybody comes in, and
Mhm.
it's just yeah, great scene, great
Mhm.
powerful scene.
Mhm. I agree.
I don't know if I ever saw a scene like this, but for some reason it reminds me of like the Chronicles of Narnia. Like it reminds me of something that like just absolute darkness and then this spark of light that just changes everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there
Hmm.
was ever a scene in that book that happened like that, but that's just what it makes me think of.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Scene.
Okay, so like you said, Gringotts. That's just a great scene, and of course the Bellatrix, and we already did the
Mm-hmm.
Inception breakdown of how she played
Yeah.
it. And then yeah, Harry facing his fate, which includes like the Resurrection Stone scene. That was so great,
Mm-hmm.
and the way he just faces up to it. And in the book, it's even more interesting because he hides. If I recall, he's like under his invisibility cloak, and he doesn't stop and say goodbye to anybody. He just kind of watches them on his way out, and he knows that the battle will continue and they will continue to fight, and he doesn't say any goodbyes. He just goes down there alone because he knows that's where he's at this point, is that he is alone and it is time to face his fate with Voldemort. So it's just kind of crazy.
I thought I had that in here because I remember reading it and saying, "Oh, we need to talk about that."
Mm-hmm.
Because he doesn't see Harry. He doesn't see in the book. He doesn't talk to Hermione and Ron. He
No,
talks to Neville
yeah,
and
who he
tells
happens to
Neville,
see.
"You need
Hmm.
to kill the
Yeah.
snake."
Hmm.
And he sees. Why is he calling me? Um, hold on. Sorry. Sorry, Brett's calling me, and I don't know why.
Hmm.
He knows we were doing the podcast this afternoon. So there, and JK, they talked to JK in a interview about
Hmm.
it, and she's like, if he actually saw his friends, like, he wouldn't have gone.
Right,
She's like,
exactly.
I don't think he would have been able to go out there to
Mm-mm.
face his death
Mm-mm.
if he saw his friends first.
No, I agree. And
Yeah.
that's, that
And he
just
doesn't
shows
talk
you.
to Jenny either. He's like, I can't talk to her. I see her
No, nope, it's
for
all
one
just far
last time,
away.
and then I'm
Hmm.
gone.
Yep, he just wants one last look and then it's time to go. And that's that. So, yeah, it's even sadder in the book, honestly, when he goes to do that. But yeah, and I loved everything you guys already brought up. So, ditto.
Yeah.
All right. Quotes.
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 Uh, this is one that I hadn't seen mentioned yet. So
It's pretty funny.
after Snape, Snape is vapor or leaves, and we got light back in the main hall. Mr. Filch, students out to bed, students out to bed, just running in. McGonagall responding, "They are supposed to be out of bed, you blithering idiot." Right. Sorry, Mom.
Love it.
So good. So good. I like how he's no longer, I mean, he is, but we don't see him as this just hateful little tyrant. Now he's just a little idiot, just an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fun to see. And then Harry and Ron in the room of requirement. And if we die for them, Harry, I'm gonna kill you.
Mm-hmm. That's very funny. Mm-hmm.
He says that in the book too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So anyway, but yeah, the next, after the Harry, I'm gonna kill you. Harry asks, "Does it hurt dying?" And Sirius is like, "Quicker than falling asleep." I think it's something every human being is always going to ask because it's the universal question, So personally, I would love to have Gary Oldman be the one to kind of comfort me, when I'm in that state, being one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As Sirius Black. And then I love this line too, more so from a creative standpoint, because I feel like this is just JK expressing herself as a writer and as a storyteller. Harry asks, "Professor, is this all real or is this happening in my head?" Dumbledore, "Of course it's happening in your head, Harry. Why should that mean it isn't real?"
Line.
Like just.
It's one of my favorites too.
Absolutely. And then, well, this is kind of out of order, but I'll end with Neville's because it was more powerful. But the one before that I have is I love every time they call Voldemort Tom.
Yes.
Anytime.
It's the best.
It's the most demeaning thing they can
I
do.
love that he did that in the last.
He hates it.
He hates it so much. And Harry's just like, "Come on, Tom. Let's just finish the way we started together." It's like,
great.
So good.
So good, yes. Mm-hmm.
So good.
Not in the book, but a great addition.
I liked that line in the movie. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And then I'll end with Neville's speech, which isn't obviously as good as it was in the book, but it doesn't matter that Harry's gone. People die every day. Friends, family, yeah. We lost Harry tonight, but he's still with us in here. So is Fred, Remus, Tonks, all of them. He didn't die in vain, but you will, turning to Voldemort, because you're wrong. Harry's heart did beat for us, for all of us. It's not over. And that's, of course, the moment when Harry comes back. And
you tell him, Neville.
That's it.
So good. So good.
It really is. Mm-hmm.
Incredible.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, of course, I had to put in Molly's line, "Not my daughter, you." Can I say it just once?
It's in the book and it's in the movie, so I feel like it's fine.
I'm sure our younger viewers have heard worse.
I mean, it's
True.
literally in both.
I just feel bad saying it. "Not my daughter, you bitch." I love it.
Do you feel, good job.
Freezes her and blows her up.
Mhm.
Good job.
The end. Yep.
The end of Bellatrix.
Still hate that she got a worse death than Umbridge, but whatever.
Yeah, Umbridge.
Where was Umbridge's death?
So Umbridge should have been on the set. They should have given her to the centaurs, and they should have tied her up like the old days, and each one of them take off separate ways and rip her limbs.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
That's what I want.
That's what we should have written instead of the cursed child, JK. We should have just gotten a short story about how Umbridge dies.
Mm-hmm.
I love these things from Harry and Hermione. Harry, "We have to go there now." Hermione, "What? We can't do that. We've got a plan. We've got to figure it out." Harry, Hermione, when have any of our plans ever actually worked? We plan, we get there, all hell breaks loose.
Yep. No point in planning.
Like
Just
you
go.
just got back from the ministry, or not ministry, the
Bank.
where all hell just broke loose. Like,
Did not go as planned. Mm-mm.
I love Hermione. We gotta figure it out. No,
We don't.
No, we don't.
We don't.
Let's just go.
There's no point.
Mm-hmm.
I love this. Neville, "Are you really giving us permission to do this?" "Yes, Longbottom." "Blow it up? Boom? Boom. Why don't you confer with Mr. Finnegan? As I recall, he has a particular proclivity for pyrotechnics."
Sure does.
"I can bring it down. That's the spirit. Now away you go."
I love it.
I love it McGonagall.
I love it.
And that line, the particular proclivity for pyrotechnics. It's such
Mhm.
like an alliteration line where it's like a tongue twister.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the baboon. She
Mhm.
loves alliterations. That
Yes,
are
that's
very
McGonagall.
history.
It
Mm-hmm.
really does.
Oh, or was the twins when they could just okay, anyways.
Yeah. McGonagall's just like a big kid in that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
McGonagall's just like a big kid in that scene.
Boom.
Yeah, well, she's a big kid in a couple of these scenes. The next one, Flitwick. Do you realize you can't keep you know who out indefinitely, McGonagall? That doesn't mean we can't delay him. And his name is Voldemort, Phileas. You might as well use it. He's gonna try to kill you either way. Like,
Yes.
yes. Better call him Tom.
Mm-hmm. Even better, yes. Call
Even
him
better.
Tom. Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, one of my absolute favorite scenes because she's so little kid giddy.
I knew
She
you'd have
does-
this one. Mm-hmm.
She, modem locomotive. I've always wanted to do that spell.
Mhm.
And she's all giddy, and Molly's like
Sure. Okay, lady.
she has the most like dumbfounded
Mm-hmm.
look on her face and looks over at McGonagall like, are you crazy? Like, we're in a fight for our lives. How are you happy?
Like, is this the
Love
Minerva
it.
she's geeking out?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yes. I love a geeky Minerva. It was great.
So good. And I love that she's the headmaster after this, or
Mhm.
headmistress.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well fit for her.
Very true. It was.
All
Mhm.
right. Sammy,
Okay.
wrap us up.
Let's see what we got. Okay. So going back to Dumbledore, do not pity the dead, Harry. Pity the living. And above all, those who live without love. I just love that line.
One of the
Because
best
it's all the entire theme of the entire series is love and the protection. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Dana redid this line. Hold on. Let me see. Okay. So then I had, as we said before, Lord Voldemort, in his arrogance, sees Harry come out to the woods and says, Harry Potter. You know what? No. Hold on. I need Dan to do
Dan,
this
do this
one
line.
because he does the voice. I don't want to do it.
Which
So
one?
Dan, if you could please provide us with the Lord Voldemort interpretation. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Harry Potter, the boy who lived, come to die.
Yes. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, I love it. It's great. Brilliant. Brilliant. Yes. But yeah, I just love it because again, he is so Tom, is so arrogant, and he's just like, yeah, see, I told everybody. Didn't I tell you all he was gonna come out to the woods? Didn't I tell you he's gonna give himself up? Did that work for you? No,
No.
it didn't.
Actually, you should have just kept him alive in a cellar. Then you could have rolled.
Yeah, exactly. But he's too arrogant for all that.
Oh, so
yeah.
well, he also didn't know he was a Horcrux.
Because again,
He's
you know,
arrogant.
he's arrogant. Yes. Mhm. Yeah. Okay. So then, this conversation with Snape and Dumbledore. Snape says, "So when the time comes, the boy must die." And Albus says, "Yes, yes, he must die." And Snape says, "You've kept him alive so he can die at the proper moment. You've been raising him like a pig for slaughter." And again, we just debated this and about like whether the interpretation and where Snape was at with it and all the nuances that come with what was Dumbledore doing and all that. So yeah. And then when we're looking back at Snape's memories and Snape is talking to Dumbledore, he's basically telling Dumbledore like nobody can know about his love for Lily and all of that. So Snape says no one can know, and Albus says that I shall never reveal the best of you, Severus. And so there we go. He wanted to be a jerk forever and evermore.
Right.
But then Harry names his child after him. So there we go. Albus Severus, it's stupidest name.
Well, okay, and the memories.
Mhm.
So Severus's memories create a plot hole.
Okay.
Or a very weird question.
Okay.
So in the very first book, Dumbledore tells us that Hagrid has gotten the child from the home and is
Yes.
bringing him.
Yes.
But in the memories, Snape is holding on to Lily's dead body with Harry right there. Does he just leave him and not take him?
Yeah, that seems to be a movie thing that they did, and I'm not sure why they did that because again, yes, it implies very heavily that Snape showed up, was very sad and mourned and cried, about what
And
happened.
he had to be gone before Hagrid got there because no one could know.
Right. And then he just dipped out and there's a freaking child sitting there crying alone in the house with 2 dead parents. Severus.
Killing us, Snivellus.
For real. Yeah. So I'm not sure where we land with that, but yeah, the movie did not really help that situation with
not
that
at all.
scene.
Not at all. Oh goodness. Oh my gosh. We're
I
done.
can't believe it.
That it.
I mean, that's it.
Wow.
So next week we're going to be talking about the Wizarding World of Harry Potter and in Universal Florida. The week after we're going to be talking about the HBO special and Hogwarts Legacy. And then the very last episode is going to be our in memoriam episode, where we pay tribute to some of the amazing actors and actresses we have lost from this franchise. So stay tuned with us next week, guys. I hope you enjoyed our breakdown of the last 8 weeks of Harry Potter.
Wow. Crazy.
See you next week.
Bye. Thanks for listening to the Pixie Dust Twins podcast featuring Dan. The show is written and produced by Ashley and Sammi, except for those manifestos, which are all written by Dan himself. Intro and audio editing by Sammi, logo created by Ashley. This show is produced as part of the Limitless Broadcasting Network. Make sure you check out all of our other shows and have a magical day.